I feel like I'm being asked now to embrace every single gray hair. Because it's almost like a badge.
Yeah, you're becoming a wizard. I love it. I'm waiting. You're going into your wizard era, girl. That's what's up.
Wizard.
Heck yeah. I'm waiting for my wizard era too. I'll be like, this is our space. Hey, friends.
Hi.
What it do? We are Firemouth Anonymous, back for another fantastic episode. We are very excited and a little scared about this episode.
Yes.
We're getting very vulnerable, very deep. We have decided to title this one Color, Culture, and Curves, a conversation on self-perception. We are going to dive in deep, dive in deep about the whole aspect around body image, the way we perceive ourselves, the way the world perceives us, and how that affects our beliefs, our identity, how we move throughout the world. So we're going to share some stories. So buckle up, friends. It's time to get down with the get down. Wendy, would you like to share first, like how you saw your body growing up versus how you see it today, and then I'll share my story.
Yeah, for sure. This is like Amira mentioned, something very vulnerable and something that I sit with even to this day. I've always had a very judgmental outlook on my physical appearance, and I never quite dug into it yet, but I guess it's happening. So here we go. As a child, I was always very skinny. I had a very fast metabolism, and in the Mexican culture, being thin is not accepted, I want to say, as much as being healthy and curvy. But it got to a point where my mom would keep hearing from family members that I was too thin. And so she started giving me iron supplements to make me more hungry. And so I'd get more hungry and I'd eat more, but I'd never gain weight. And that at such a young age made my mind, believe that me as I am or was is not good enough. And my mom was obviously pressured by our family and her community or whatever. So she was out there trying to make herself feel like she was a good mother, I want to say, by making me feel or look, I don't know, fatter. And that's something that I carried around with me, I think, up until this day. Like I said, I would gain weight and I'd lose weight, and I never felt enough. I was never satisfied with my body image at all. And then to tack on to that, being a Mexican girl in a white world was just so very much, it was a lot because growing up out here in the Antelope Valley, there weren't a lot of Mexicans out here. So I was out here breaking down stereotypical images of what a Mexican should look like, to other cultures and stuff. And I'd always get asked why I had such hairy arms, or why, for me, a lot of times I'd get made fun of because my eyes are very like almond shaped. And even my mom would say, why don't you open your eyes when you smile? And I'd get so yeah, she's like, open your eyes. And I'm like, I'd open my eyes when I'd smile, and she'd say, okay, don't do that. And I'm like, bro,
what do you want from me?
Yeah, I'm like, you made me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, these eyes, I didn't, whatever. But you're constantly getting reinforced on just how much you don't fit in, even in your own culture. And it's so heavy that it affects us throughout our whole life. And again, like being a woman in a Mexican culture and being the curves and all that stuff. And I wasn't ever really curvy. I didn't really grow boobs until like my late teens. Like, so
I'm still waiting for mine.
Yeah, like we're growing up with like A cups and people are walking around with B's and C's and D's in high school. And I'm just like, out here wanting to get a boob job at like 18 years old. And it was always, and it has been, an uphill battle. And it pains me to even call a relationship with my physical body a battle. And as a 42-year-old woman, Even though we just had that freaking photo shoot in the poppies where I was like laying in the field naked, that was something that I would never dare to do. And even now, as I've lost about 30 pounds, and I still, like, I'm at my goal weight, and I still feel like I'm fat. I still feel like I can do better. And maybe if I get to 100 and this pounds, then, I'm finally going to love myself. But I feel like that is not the correct way to move through this, because it's going to be like, I feel like I'm just repeating the patterns of the past of it's never going to be enough.
Yeah.
And who am I really judging my beauty standards? Like, where's that coming from? And I feel like it's just the echoes of the past. So the way I see myself now is that I'm learning to embrace my womanhood and the body shape that I have and all of my features, and not bleaching my face anymore because of the peach fuzz that I'd have, and embracing the rolls here and there, and accepting that I have hips and I can't side bend them away. Like, it's about embracing it. And even though I am very fortunate and get compliments about my looks, it doesn't resonate with me. It's just like, oh, okay, they think I'm pretty.
Ooh,
but
there's some deeper work to do there,
yes, girl. That's why I didn't want to talk about this.
Ooh, and that's why I do, because we here for it.
But yeah, thank you guys for witnessing me, because that was very, very vulnerable of me to admit to the masses that regardless of how others perceive you, if you aren't in that space to accept that, then it's kind of like you said, then there's work to be done. So
yeah. And thank you for sharing that, Wendy.
You're welcome. It's your turn.
It's my turn. You're like, yeah, that's right, bitch. Tag. It's your time to be in the hot seat. Let's go.
from one old A cup to another old A cup.
All right, here we go. Oh man. So y'all, for me, what I experienced growing up was having this confusion around my biracialness. The fact that I'm biracial. I'm half Korean, half Mexican. Now, if you saw pictures of me growing up, I look very tan for a Korean. Because when you see most Korean people, they're very, very light skinned. And it's interesting that you bring up, bleaching your skin, because there's a lot of Korean skincare that is actually meant to whiten your skin. Because in a lot of Asian culture, at least in Korean culture, a lot of our skincare is actually meant to bleach your skin, because in Korean culture, the more white you look, that means that you're of a higher race, things of that nature. And it goes back to we want to be like the white people, because otherwise you're looked at as like a farmer, you're looked at as less than. And that's still the case even to this day. So imagine growing up on this little girl. My mom's the Korean one, my dad's the Mexican one. And I was too dark to be Korean, but I looked too Asian because of my facial features to be Hispanic. So when I would try to speak Korean in some of the Korean plazas in K-Town, I'd have a lot of my people kind of give me these strange looks like, that's really cute. Okay, yeah, you're all right. I don't really know what you are, but all right, that's cool. And then when it would be explained to them that I'm Korean, they'd be like, all right, sure, whatever you say. And then same thing would happen when I would go to some of these Hispanic communities, and then if I tried to speak Spanish, again, I'd get the confused looks like, what? Like, you don't look Hispanic. Like, why are you even trying? So for many, many years, I was too shy to want to speak Korean or Spanish, because I'm like, I don't feel like I belong in the Asian community or the Hispanic community. So who the hell am I? And it was very, very confusing growing up in that way, just from a cultural standpoint. And then when we bring in the body image aspect too, yeah, it's interesting in Korean culture, as I'm sure a lot of you can attest, a lot of these K-pop bands, a lot of those people are like rail thin. And it's interesting, I would even have my mom sometimes, even if I gained a little bit of weight, she'd be like, oh, you gained some weight? And I'm like, is that okay? Am I not allowed? And so naturally, as a young child, when you're asked that, especially by a parental figure, you're like, okay, oh God, I guess I'm getting fat and I need to look like this. But no, like I was that girl that wanted curves. I was the one that was like, give me hips, Lord. Give me the boobs, like give me the things. Give me the ass, like give me all the things. Because for me, I'm like, I don't want to be this thin. Like I want the brick house song. Like I wanted the brick house. I wanted to be the brick house. So I struggled with that and wanting that. And so it's just interesting how now, as an adult, you know, as a 36-year-old, I just think, you know what? I'm going to love on all of me. And even though I have more of a slender build, I'm like, you know what? Damn, thank you, body. Thank you for helping me get up and move every day. Thank you for all the bodily functions that you do that I don't even have to think about. Thank you for just getting me through and having me meet incredible people like Wendy and go to these incredible events and just holding all of my organs and things together in this weird ass skin suit. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate you. So there's more of that appreciation as we've gotten older, for sure. But I think it's because we are doing the work. But same, I still have those things about myself too, where I'm like, oh, I can nitpick this and I can nitpick that. And we both did that poppy photo shoot together, not anticipating getting in our birthday suits. But thanks to a dear, dear friend of ours who is this wild spirit, very free spirit. We love her. Margaret.
Yeah.
She's just like, well, just letting you guys know, I'm probably going to get naked. And we were like, all right, that's cool. That works for us. We're cool with that. So, and it was very freeing for both of us. We're like, you know what? Screw it. We're going to embrace our bodies. And even though we can nitpick, and we had moments in the photo shoot where we're like, but I'm like this. I have these like muffin handles here, and like my boobs are like, bleh, bleh. And we're like, you know what? We're going to embrace that. We're going to love on that because damn, like look at this beautiful body. We're going to embrace that.
Yeah, I'm still trying.
Girl, I feel you.
That photo shoot really triggered that in me when I saw the picture. Mm-hmm. And I felt so, I was like, oh my God, like you can see that roll and this and that. And mind you, like everybody was very like, you look so beautiful and that's so courageous. And I'm just like, oh, like, oh no. But it was still like I see the imbalance of that loving my physical self and what others see. So I'd love to be able to incorporate all of this into this. And I wonder where the resistance lies. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is it so difficult, I can't even say the word difficult, to accept my physical beauty? Yeah. I don't know. Ooh. But I'm sure okay, girl, go ahead. Yes.
I was like, teacher, wait.
Amira, hit me with that 2x4, please.
Girl, no, like you even mentioned it before we pressed record on this. We talked about how because of our cultures and how we grew up, plus us being in a world where, let's be real, let's be honest, white people, they get more. There's more there. They get more of the jobs. They're seen as more of this like, hey, I want to achieve that. And I feel like because of some of these beauty standards that are put into place within our society, you know, our culture, our heritage, our nationalities, it's like, okay, yeah, this is great for this community. But when it's in a majority population, like being in a population where the majority is Caucasian, you're just like, I don't feel like I fit in. Yeah. I'm like, I wish I had the blue eyes and like the blonde hair and I had this body and I was this tall and this. Yeah. Because even in my own damn community, I'm still trying to be accepted even in my own communities. Yeah. Hell, throw me in with a group of Caucasian people and I'm like, forget it. All right. I'm my little 5'4" self over here like, hi. Yeah. Must be nice up there. And that's what I tell people when they're really tall, because I'm like, wow.
No, I feel that. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that perspective and for bringing in culture into this, because I think it's like, again, it's always straddling these lines of trying to fit in physically and then culturally. We're growing up as a Chicana, Mexican American in this world and growing up in the Antelope Valley before, I mean, there were brown people out here. I was called a coconut for a long time. I'm brown on the outside and white on the inside. And it was so offensive to me because I didn't understand why I'd be called that. Because, you know, growing up out here, I was listening to the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Incubus and, you know, rock music. And then I'd go visit my family in Southgate and Inglewood, and they're listening to Chalino and norteñas and corridos and all kinds of like Mexican stuff. And they'd make fun of me. And I'm just like, I didn't grow up like you. You know, and I'd feel kind of like angry because I'm like, what choice did I have? but I kind of learned to embrace that I was different. And if they were to come out to where I grew up, they'd be looked at as different. And it wasn't until Benny actually called me a coconut when we first started dating. I just went full ham on that fool. Like, he received all the wrath of all the years that I've been called that. And I was just crying and screaming at him like, I don't know what the beep I have to do to prove that I am Mexican. I'm like, do I need to carry a bottle of Tapatio in my purse while I'm wearing huaraches and a sombrero and singing Vicente Fernandez songs while downing a bottle of tequila? Like, what do you need me to do? You know, like, I'm like, meanwhile, you're over here dating Britneys and Tiffany's that can't even speak Spanish, bro. Like, you know? And I'm like, but it was very hurtful to hear those words, even if it was a joke. And my sister and I would always relate to it. And I love how movies, like, we relate to certain movies. I'd always hear the line from Selena where she'd say, I'm not Mexican enough for the Mexicans and I'm not American enough for the Americans. Yep. And so that in itself was something that I had grown up living for a long, long time it wasn't until a couple years ago that I will always refer to Path of Ish. And the conversations I had with my teacher, Marita, the one who catches lightning, I'll always shout you out. They said, you don't belong to one thing because you belong to everything. And as soon as I heard those words, it was like, I felt so much freedom that I didn't have to worry about going to Mexico and being made fun of because I didn't speak perfect Spanish. And they'd say, oh, you're from the other side, el otro lado. Or they'd say, or come out here and I'm called spick and a wetback and all kinds of other things. And, oh, do you speak English? I would so love to be able to say, no, I don't speak English. I'm sorry. You know, in the most perfect fucking English.
Exactly how you said it.
Yes. It's like, exactly, oh, no, I'm sorry, white man. I do not speak English. You know? But it was difficult. But I wear my skin suit with honor now in that aspect.
Heck yeah. And I feel that. And thanks for sharing that. Like, I love that you always talk about, you know, these teachings that you learn from that class that you're part of, you know, with the Path of Ish, because I've learned a lot from you just through what you've shared from them too. And it's incredible. And I feel it's because we've had some of these mentors, we've been around groups of people who have that mindset. And I feel like a lot of this, obviously this shapes our belief because, again, you know, and you and I have talked about mirror work. We've talked about how we mirror each other. So think about it. If the world is perceiving you a certain way, if the world is the one that's calling you a spick, a wetbag, like you're like with me, if I'm not Korean enough and I'm not Mexican enough and the world's confused as to who I am, and if I'm not deeply rooted in who I am yet, then that confusion, I'm going to reflect that. I'm going to take that belief system as my own and root into that because I don't have that strong, grounded belief system of my own yet that says, no, you know what? I can be both and I can do both beautifully. And hell yeah, this is who I am. And I'm going to honor both of these things that I am, or however many cultures and nationalities and ethnicities that make up who you are. So I believe a big part of this too, and how we move through the world, is based on our belief system and what's projected onto us from the world. Because the world's like, well, you're not Mexican enough, but you're not white enough, so we're just going to put you over here in the other column. And then you go around walking through the world as an other, and you're like, well, where should I be, and who do I belong to, and what is my place in the world? What gifts do I have to share when I don't even know who I am because the world doesn't know who I am. It doesn't recognize me. It calls me an other. And I'm over here like, well, let me call on all the others. Let's make a group. Let's have all the others. Let's go, others. Let's make our own little group.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much beauty in being able to honor and embrace all those parts of you and to say, you know what, let me dive deeper into what this actually means. What does it mean to be a Korean person? What does it mean to be Mexican? And for you, Wendy, it's like, yeah, what does it mean to fully embrace my Mexican heritage, but also knowing you have roots that go back to like Aztec and like Mayan and things of that nature too. I mean, like, let's go even further back into that.
Well, thank you. That was beautifully said. Let me take a deep breath.
we said this one was going to go.
Yeah.
So breathe, everybody. Actually, while you're taking a breath, if you don't mind me sharing.
No, go for it.
So for those of you who are watching, please subscribe, like our channel, all the things. Yes, we would love that. That way you can get notifications every time we get a new episode going, because we appreciate y'all, you know?
Yes.
So, all right, continue.
Yeah. I think the first chunk of my life, I was more embracing of my Spanish side. So I did the whole 23andMe thing, and I came back 50-50, 50% Iberian, which is Portuguese and
Very
Spanish, and the other half is native. And I feel like that first part of my life was very much based in that, you know, conquistador thing. I remember doing a report on what's that fool's name? Cortés Hernandez, the guy who conquered.
What's that fool's name? I love it. I love it.
Doing a whole paper on the fool that like conquered Mexico.
Yeah.
And being like proud of it. And then it was very interesting because when I went to Spain, I got a tattoo on my arm or on my shoulder, and it was of a bird. And then fast forward a couple years later, and I got it covered up by a jaguar, an Aztec jaguar. And I was like, wow, how freaking amazing is that? Like because I resonate with that part of me so much deeply now, it's almost like I was embracing something that wasn't truly of me. You know what I'm saying? Like spiritually and energetically. And now it's like that my true essence has come forward. Yeah. Like that part of me that was tried, that they wanted to erase, they couldn't. Mm-hmm. And so it's a beautiful thing to be able to represent that with my body and whatever it looks like. I mean, I have Quetzalcoatl here and other Aztec deities on my arms, but being able to be proud of who I am and where I come from. And again, like even the rolls and the hair and the, you know, like all of it is an extension of the love of my land and my people. Yeah. So I don't care who doesn't, you know, I'm at a place where like, I don't care what anybody thinks or says, even though they're great things, but now it's just having to incorporate that love back into myself. And like you said, like doing the mirror work and all of that, like it can be difficult for me at times to look at myself and say, I love you. And, you know, I love my body. It can be very difficult, even for me on this spiritual path, and how people think like, no, it's still very much a work in progress. But at least I think for me, a win is knowing that I am capable of seeing it and recognizing now I just need to actually do something about it.
Well, you are, though, by doing that mirror work, by being, and this is for those of you who may not be aware of what we mean when we say the mirror work, is in one of our previous episodes, which you should check out. we talk about looking in the mirror, looking at yourself in the mirror, more than just for a few seconds, because I mean, we all do that. We're like, all right, cool. Do I look like a person? Great. But no, actually taking that moment, even if it's 2 minutes, preferably 5, but even if it's 2, being able to stand, sit in the mirror, look at yourself, especially if you can do it without any clothes on, and to be able to say, I love you. Like, thank you, body. Like, I love this and I love you. And just really talking to your body, talking to your soul, looking yourself in the eyes in the mirror. So that's what we mean by the mirror work. And so, you know, when Wendy, when you're saying like, yeah, this is still difficult. I have my difficulties with that too. I haven't done that in a hot minute, because I'll have my days too where I'm like, I'm going to find a loophole and I'm going to do it later. And then later never happens, because we all know what later means. It means never. It means never.
Yeah.
So I feel you with that. And it's interesting, you know, as you were sharing about this too, something that was coming through for me is how, not only from a physical standpoint, but also emotionally, mentally, how this also shapes our roles and our identities and how we show up, you know, for the people around us, how we show up for ourselves. Like, okay, when I'm around my mom, I take on this identity of the Asian daughter. You know, in Korean culture, it's like, it's always about the elders first. You always say yes. There is no no. No is yes. Yes is extra yes. There is no such thing as no. So it's like you take on some of these roles and these identities as well. Whereas when I was with my father, God rest his soul, you know, like he would always say things to me like, you need to speak English better than the white man, because I don't want anyone to ever look at you like you're less than. And that was his burden to bear, and that's why he never taught me Spanish. And I wanted to learn so bad, but he's like, no. He's like, I want you to be able to articulate well, to speak well, because I want you to be able to go toe to toe with any Caucasian person you come against. So he held a lot against Caucasians, but because he grew up in a time in the 40s, 50s where Mexicans were seen as dirt.
Yep.
So no wonder why a lot of that was ingrained into me.
Yeah.
And I've had to break out of some of that identity shifts and some of those things and those beliefs and say, is this something that I still want to carry? Is this a belief that is still of me? Or is this of my father? And I'm like, no, this doesn't belong to me. I am releasing this, letting this go, and forming a new belief around, you know what? I want to love on everyone. And everyone's cultures, nationalities, heritages are beautiful. There's so much beauty in all these different types of cultures. I want to share mine with everyone, and I would love for you to share yours with me. Let's learn how to embrace and love, and then I would love to take parts of that and bring that into my identity so I can help like project that out into the world.
Yeah.
Because that projection is one I want to put out, where it's like, yes, let's embrace everyone. Show the beauty of all these different nationalities and heritages. Mm-hmm. So that's the journey I've been on currently, and not only learning how to embrace, my Korean heritage, but also my Mexican side, and then being able to genuinely have an interest in other people's cultures too, and be like, wow, that's beautiful. I love how you view grief and death in this light, or I love how you honor family in this way, or you do weddings this way, or this is how you take care of your kids in this way. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I want to form my identity around that.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
As you were saying that, it's interesting because since I started working at this place, and almost everybody there is pretty much in their early 20s. This is like new generation, because I grew up obviously with my parents immigrating here in the 80s. And they didn't have time to think about how they looked and this and that and the other. They were just surviving and working. Yeah. And I think that's why I was never told by my parents I was pretty and beautiful and nothing like that. So that was foreign to me. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why I had a hard time receiving compliments. But now working with these young kids, these youngsters, I'm going to say.
Youngins.
They are in such a different space when it comes to loving who they are. And the way they express themselves. And I'm very, very fortunate to work with such amazing, confident young people that they have helped me love me and the way I look. Like, yay. I would never wear a crop top and show my belly, but working there, I'm like, I walk in there like, yes, girl, you look good. All compliments everywhere. I'm like, yes.
I love it. I love it.
Strutting in. And it's always about empowering each other, telling each other how good you look. Oh my God, this would look so good on you. Oh, but my legs, fuck that shit. Like, it's just so empowering. And I think I was meant to be there. Part of the reasons why I was meant to be there was in order to gain that self-confidence in my physical body and feeling safe and like showing like some cleavage. It's like, I remember I did a photo shoot once and I had my shoulders showing, girl, and just a little bit of boob, and I showed, and not a whole breast or anything, but like enough, and my best friend is a guy. I'm like, Kenny, is this like too revealing? He's like, no, they're your shoulders. And I was like, oh, okay. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like going from that to being naked in a poppy field in like a span of a month.
Oh, girl.
Okay, so
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, girl.
I'm so proud of you. You go.
But I think it's really, like you had mentioned earlier, it makes so much of a difference to surround yourself with people that are going to witness you and where you're at in your journey, and that are going to like pump you up and love you and show you how amazing you are in every way, and like not just spiritually and energetically, but physically as well. Because I know we tend to, you know what is crazy is like we tend to be told like your looks aren't everything, but then society is like, no, your looks are everything. Yeah. So like like we are constantly just chasing our tails. So it's like, what is it?
Yep.
But I think it's important to just love the way you look, and knowing that with life and with time, your body is going to experience all these changes. And it just like every other aspect of ourselves, it's important for us to love every version of ourselves. Like, the 110-pound Wendy in high school with no boobs, to the chunky Wendy, like, and to this version of myself now, it's like you can see my white hairs. And I'm like, I need to dye my hair all the time so you can't see my gray hairs. But you know what? I didn't have these gray hairs when I wasn't in love with Benny. You know what I'm saying? Or after my dad, they came in after my dad passed away, and they got more when Benny passed away. So I feel like instead of being so like afraid of getting older or showing my age, it's like I feel like I'm being asked now to embrace every single gray hair, because it's almost like a badge.
Yeah, you're becoming a wizard. I love it. I'm waiting. Like you're going into your wizard era, girl. That's what's up.
My wizard.
Heck yeah.
Love it.
I'm waiting for my wizard era too. I'll be like,
Where do I get my cloak?
Are the grays coming in yet?
Girl, don't say that, because one's gonna sprout tomorrow.
I'll be like, the wizardry is happening. Yes.
Like, is that what that means?
That's how I'm learning to. I'm learning. Like, I'm looking at it like a kid would. That's how I'm learning how to embrace being older. Something that I've been saying to myself a lot is, when I grow up, I want to be a child again.
I love that.
Yeah, and what I mean by that is that looking at life through the lens of a kid, like kids, they're like, playground, cool. The floor is lava, cool. All right, now I'm an astronaut. Tomorrow I'm the president. Tomorrow I'm this. But there's so much like vibrancy and excitement, and it's like, all right, cool. Like I'm getting a gray white hair. I'm becoming a wizard. Awesome. All right, things are starting to sag. Cool, I'm a little bit closer to the ground. I'm getting more grounded. I'm like, I try to shift the perspective into that to make it funny, to just make fun of myself and to make fun of life. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to look like wrinkly potatoes, man. And who doesn't love French fries? Like,
I love French fries.
I love French fries. Wow, that like really went left field. That's fine. But see, that's like being a kid. Like kids, they're like boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, squirrel.
Yeah, see, I'm in my kid era,
yeah,
y'all, and I just want to dive deeper into that, because why not?
Well, you know what's nuts is that we don't look our age.
No, we don't.
And a lot of people will like, what? You're how old?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, yeah, bro, I'm 42. And they're like, I thought you were in your late 20s, early 30s. I'm like, So you know what? I'm gonna be a good ass looking old woman. Like,
yes, with your silver whispery wizardry hair.
Oh my gosh!
Spells on people, love spells, being like, yes, world, love each other.
Girl, I just want birds to land in my hand.
Cool. Then we'll do like bird landing spells. Be like, come birds. It'll be great. See, I have all the plans, guys. I got the plans.
Yeah.
Just come and ask. I got you.
But I would love for you to share the story about how you wove in your two different cultures. Mm-hmm. You shared that. Yeah. Because I'm sure a lot of people are in that space of wanting to bring two different worlds into one. And like for me, I'm like, this is me. I'm locked and loaded, like, Aztec warrior Wendy.
Yeah.
And I feel like just embodying that is enough resistance to whatever the F is going on in the world. Like, you tried to erase me, but I'm here. And that's how I embody it. That's how I radiate it out. But I'd love to know how you weave your cultures and like honor yourself in every like aspect.
Ooh, a whole new world. Yes. Like, all right. Yeah, I was sharing with Wendy earlier, and thank you for that what I have found, and this could be a good practice for those of you who are biracial or, you have multiple nationalities, cultures, things of that nature. I threw my own birthday party when I was 25, 26, something in there, where I'm like, okay, I want to throw a birthday party that really honors both aspects of who I am. For those of you who may not be familiar with a certain kind of apparel in the Korean culture, we have a thing called a hanbok, which looks like, it's this like beautiful, if you watch Korean, like K-dramas, like a lot of them wear it during weddings, celebrations, things of that nature. It's always really bright colors. It's like this big poofy dress. Yes, it's beautiful. I love them. So it's called a hanbok. And I told my mom, I said, okay, I want to buy myself a hanbok, but the colors need to represent the Mexican flag. That way, it's this beautiful amalgam of like my Korean heritage wearing the hanbok, but the colors represent my Hispanic side. And so the colors of my hanbok are red, white, and green. And then I also remember putting my hair up in a way where I made like the crown flowers. It reminded me of like Frida Kahlo. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, ugh, because I call myself a Corexican. You know, it's like the mix of the two. So I'm like, yes, we're celebrating the Corexican birthday party.
I love that.
And I even remember with my birthday cake, I was very specific. I'm like, so here's the deal. I want half of the cake to be in the color of the South Korean flag. And the South Korean flag has like the yin-yang signs. And then the other half of the cake to be the Mexican flag. Like the whole party revolved around bringing together two things that don't necessarily seem like they would work. But the larger lesson there was like, wow, look at the beauty of what you can create when you do put things together and you honor and embrace them. Where you're like, wow, that's weird that works. It's beautiful. Cool, let's embrace it.
Girl, and you were talking about yourself when you say that.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Woo. That's how I'm embracing it, by doing all of that.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. So that's what I did for my birthday. And from that point forward, I just rooted myself deeper and deeper into that. So I love that for you. It's like you have this persona that you root into, where you're like, I'm this Aztec warrior, goddess, future wizard woman. You know, I know who I am, and you will not erase me. And I love that. And for me, in my 20s, I felt like I needed to do something that was tactile, tangible, that I had to see. Because for me, at that age, I struggled with creating some, like a persona for me. Whereas now I'm like, yeah, I got that bitch on lockdown. This is who I is.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was the catalyst that started me on that journey of creating the Corexican that I am today.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, yeah, this is me. And do you take it or leave it?
And can I ask a question regarding that? Like, how does your mom feel about you embracing the Mexican side of you?
She loves it, honestly. She does. Like, she obviously wants me to continue to embrace the Korean side. And so I am working on my Korean a little bit more. Right now, it sounds like I'm a little drunk when I speak Korean. That's what I get told by everybody. And that used to really offend me. But now I make fun of it. And I'm just like, well, at least I'm trying. So whatever, I'm trying.
Yeah.
And now I show up with more confidence. And I'm like, no, this is who I am. And when people give me weird looks, I'm like, why are you looking at me weird? You know what I said. You very clearly understood. Okay, great. Yes, I know I don't look like a typical Korean person. Can we move on? Okay, yeah, we're good? Great. Yeah, because I'm like, I don't have time. Like, let's go. Like, let's go.
Catch up.
Yeah, I don't got time. Ain't nobody got time. So I appreciate you asking that. Yeah, she very much wants me to embrace all of who I am. She loves that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My mom's
and
a
special.
G. She's
She
a G,
sure
though.
is. She sure is. That lady can out party me any day.
Y'all. I mean, if you know, like, Koreans can get down, man.
My dad's best friend was Korean. Okay, mind you, my dad had like a super Spanish accent, and his best friend was named Suk.
Love it.
Like, so such a heavy Korean accent. I don't know what. My dad would start eating like ramen with like seafood thing. Like, he would make like all these weird concoctions, and it was from Suk. And they, like, I couldn't understand what either of them were saying, but they understood each other.
Beautiful.
They always understood each other. And he,
That's
like,
cool.
Suk gave my dad a Buddha that's still at the house. Like, just
That's
all these
cool.
wonderful things of, like, embracing
cool.
each other's cultures and not allowing, like, the outside to dictate what you or your world is supposed to look like. So I think being born into the family that I was born in, obviously there were always like situations that weren't the best, but I grew up being very accepting of people and different cultures and people's looks. And I feel like my family cultivated such a safe space for people to be themselves and not have to feel like you had to look a certain way or speak a certain language. And I taught myself, Spanish was my first language, but I remember going to TJ, because that's where a lot of my family lives. And I just start reading things on the wall. My mom's like, who taught you how to speak Spanish or how to read Spanish? I'm like, me. And she was just like, what the frick? But I feel like how you were saying earlier, the way I show up now, like I make sure my Mexicanness is like in your face. Like my setups when I have my pop-up things, it's like sarape with all the colors and the jaguar and Aztec this, and it's just like, yes, I'm here.
I'm here. Yes.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna miss me.
Yeah. And I feel like it's such an honor to represent that, which is again like an extension of where I'm from and the beauty that resides in all of that. So yeah, it's gonna be. It is very fun for me to dive in deeper in that aspect, like learning how to speak Nahuatl and all of the stuff. All
the things. I think as you were sharing, what was coming to me too is I feel like this has expanded our capacity for compassion. Mm-hmm. Being compassionate towards people who are on that journey of discovering or even rediscovering who they are, what their belief systems are, how they see themselves from a physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, energetic standpoint. Because I know with the journey I've gone through, I think, wow, bless that little girl's heart, bless all those previous versions of myself for getting through what she could with the information that she had at that time. Man, God bless her. Yeah. And then I see myself in other people and I just think, dang, okay, I got you. Like, I'm here to help in whatever way I can. Yeah. And one of the greatest gifts that I can give you is just my compassion and that ability to hold that space to witness and be like, hey, you have questions. You want to just be able to be yourself? Great. That's what we're here for. Hence why earlier I was like, others, assemble. Like, we're here for that. We're here for that. So I feel for myself, the greatest lesson I have learned in going through my own journey with body image and my culture and things of that nature is compassion. Compassion for myself and compassion for what others are also experiencing. And just learning to embrace that and expand upon that capacity for compassion. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Because as you were saying that, I just kept seeing and feeling the Wendy's of the past that were taking hydroxycut. Like at some point I was taking hydroxycut and just at some point I was just taking, what are those shakes? I forget what it's called. Like Herbalife
or something?
Something like that. Okay. But I was literally living on like shakes and stuff to try to lose weight. Like I've done all kinds of crazy things to try to get thin. And I feel like I never actually sat with those versions of myself and told them like, girl, you've always been beautiful and it's okay. So that will be my homework tonight.
Speaking of homework, you know what? Can we switch homework to heart work?
I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've given ourselves heart work in regards to this. And I think it's fair for us to say that this is a lifelong process because we're going to continue to come across other layers of this proverbial onion that kind of ask you to look in again and be like, all right, I guess we got some more layers to peel. So those are the layers we're peeling. We would love to know from you all, just based on what you've heard from us, how do you see yourself? What is your body saying to you? Mm-hmm. How have you been treating your physical body image, your emotional, mental, spiritual self? How did you grow up seeing yourself versus how you see yourself now? Yeah. Yeah. And figuring out, okay, what kind of tools or practices can you implement? Maybe for you, when Wendy shared about her putting on this persona of like, yeah, I am this Aztec warrior goddess. Like, I'm going to show up as that person 24/7. You're going to know I'm there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And maybe that can help you by drawing out a visual of what that person looks like, giving that person a name, dressing as that person. Yeah. You talked about earlier, like, you're learning how to dress in this way where you're really embodying this beautiful version of you. Or even if it's doing something like what I did where, you do activities and things where it's like, cool, I'm going to embrace all these different parts of myself. Let me throw these parties, or let me dress like this, or let me put this and this together and create things that are tangible.
Sorry, I just got like a major
yeah,
not having shame about being who you are.
Yeah.
And being loud about it in the ways that it resonates with you. Like, I feel like so many of these cultures out here have such vibrant colors and such vibrancy, and we've been taught to mute ourselves. Yeah. So I feel like wear those traditional clothings that are loud and just, maybe other people will be like, what are they wearing? Let them ask you, and then you can share the beauty of the colors, the beauty of the patterns, the beauty of all the things that you are representing. And the other thing I wanted to add about things that have helped me, like really truly embrace my physical body, is like I'm very much a mantra person, and I will say a mantra in the shower. I will say, I love my healthy, balanced, toned, sexy, feminine body. And I will repeat that as I'm scrubbing myself, and just, I will repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. And then it's like a whole process. It's done with intention. And then it's like you start programming your mind to actually embody that. So that's very helpful for me. And it doesn't have to be those exact words, but whatever makes sense for you.
Yep. Just knowing to put some kind of practice into place. And even if it's starting off small by trying something once a week, because if every day feels a little overwhelming, that's okay.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a few days a week or even once a week, something that feels like it's a good baby step for you, unless you're a deep diver like Wendy and I, where we're just like, we're going to go in deep. Let's just do it. But that's okay. Either way, there's no right or wrong. We just wanted to take this time to share about this particular topic because this was something that was very prevalent over these last couple of weeks for us.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so we really appreciate all of you for continuing to tune in. We appreciate all the subscribers from the very beginning to all the new ones that we continue to get. We've been hitting some incredible milestones. We're so grateful for all of you. Thank you so much for always tuning in, for sharing your comments, and just being able to relate and share where you are in your journeys as well. So
Yes.
we so appreciate you.
Thank you.
So we love you all. And until next time, friends.
Love yourself.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.